Okay, we're all good.
Are we live to the world?
I believe we are.
Is this a thing? Is this real?
Yeah, we're good to go.
It looks like there's people there. Yeah, I see people on things.
Hey,
It's
everyone.
Monday. It's Monday night. It means it must be live time
Happy New Year, everyone.
with our buddy Mike down there. Happy New Year, everybody.
Woohoo, Happy New Year.
Yay. Keep it
It's
fresh.
the kid. It's the kids on the escalator. Monday. It's not Mandalorian meltdown now. It's just the Monday meltdown, I guess. I don't know.
Well, today we're ushering in New Year stuff, so I guess we
New
didn't
Year's
name this one,
stuff.
did we?
We didn't name this one. We didn't name it yet, but hey, it's the night's young, so we can still name it. Michael, what's happening down there?
Not much, guys. Happy New Year. I was gonna say, what is the protocol for how long after New Year's are you allowed to say Happy New Year to somebody?
First week. I think it's a first week thing.
But what
I
if
think the first
what if
week.
you don't see anybody for 2 weeks? Like, I mean, some people aren't going back to work right away. Is it Can I still say Happy New Year early February, or is that too much?
Ooh, if
Yeah,
you
that
haven't
might be
seen
too
someone-
much.
Yeah, I think that's too much. Honestly.
Somebody said Happy
It's a
New Year to me
lockdown.
today. They were in my way, and I was like, "Excuse me." Oh, here you go. Happy New Year. So I don't know if he's being a dick or what, but yeah, buddy. Happy New Year. I'll get out of your
That's
way.
code for fuck off.
I think it was. Yeah. Are you guys noticing that, like, when you go out, all bets are off with those arrows now where you're at, or is it just here in Kingston? You know, the arrows
You're
in the
supposed to follow
the
arrows. or
followed
something?
lines?
yeah, all the bets are off here in Kingston now. It's just like,
I think some people are still trying to adhere to it.
Well, that's good.
I certainly am doing my part.
I do it as well. You know.
I've been in some places of business, not many, because I mean, I'm not that I'm freaked out about it, but I just like, you know what, I don't have any need to go and wander around a store if I don't have to. But I found some grocery stores, one in town in particular, where they didn't follow a proper line path. So there's a set of rows that are all in the same direction, and I thought, really, really.
So if somebody's walking the wrong way, though, do you guys say anything?
I moonwalk backwards if it's the wrong way.
No, but if somebody's coming the other way, right? Like, say you're going the right way, and they're like, and they're kind of blocking the lane or whatever, coming. Do you guys say anything?
I'm not that guy.
No,
But
No,
they-
I don't see it as much out here. It's a little bit different out this way. We're a little bit less, frantic. And as I said, my daughter's doing volleyball, and all those sports are back on, and all the rest of it.
Oh,
So
good. Oh, there you go.
yeah, I mean, but going in, yeah, there's the follow the line thing, and that's a little bit ridiculous. Like I'm a little bit like stand here, and I was in the bank the other day, and the one guy was standing just in front of the circle, and they're like, "Oh, sir, you gotta back up into that circle," and he's like, "Well, there's no one in front of me." He's like, "Sir, you need to back up into that circle."
Mhm.
So I was like, "This is some funny shit."
There you go. There you go.
It is the year in review. We are live tonight
Yes, we
around
are.
the world.
I don't know if you noticed,
All
but
the
Beans has joined us.
We got Beans
He's
back there.
right there.
Mike, what do you got there? What's going on? What is that?
What are you drinking?
This is a little bit of 40 Creek Copper Pot.
Nice.
I said to my buddy Cardboard Mike that this is the first New Year's in about 20 years where I didn't have a drop of booze on the New Year's Eve.
Wow.
So and for no other reason except that it was just so lame and I went to bed early. But yeah, so this is my official first celebratory, limited stuff.
Right on. Oh, we got our intro coming in again.
Cheers, everybody.
I'm
So
drinking
the other
Powerade.
day, We did a launch of Machete Comics. Any updates there, Chris? How was the first launch weekend, my man?
Oh, it was fun. It was really good. I haven't checked over the past few days because I'm trying to get the second issue all touched up, ready for February 1st. And actually, there's a lot of at the end of January, the lockdown's ending, and I've got the comic book store wants me to come in and do some workshops for them, and I got the film festivals coming up. Got some workshops coming for them. So yeah, I'm busy, so I haven't really checked. It's going good. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I've so it's selling. How much it's selling, I have no idea. I honestly can't tell you, and I'm not. I know it. I don't think we've reached our goal of 100 that we wanted. Was it by today we wanted to get 100?
We wanted 100 by today, but I mean,
I would have
there's
loved
some
1,000, but I
onboarding
would.
for the process.
100 would have been amazing. Yeah, I think we're like halfway there. Maybe
There you go.
maybe around 50, but that's cool. You know what I mean? Not everybody's into comic books. I understand. We are getting the physical copy on the way. In 2 weeks, I get to check out the first one and see what
Oh,
it's
wicked.
like. Yeah. So, and I can get a run as low as 50 comics, which is great. So I can get a run of 50. I can deal them around
Yeah.
locally here, or kind of thing. If you
And
order
you
it
know,
online,
and Mike, we were looking at and tell Chris, tell everyone how much it's for sale for, because we need a tagline from Mike.
Well, it's $4.99, right? Or is it $5.99? $4.99 for the comic. Here's the thing, though. Like, if through these companies you go through online, if I was to have one available, a physical copy, people would have to pay $12.99 for it. So yeah, I just can't do it. So that's why we went with the digital one right away, which is feasible. And it's the price of a normal comic book. Once we get it going, it will be a little less expensive once I get the physical copies and whatnot, and we get our legs behind us here. But I do appreciate everyone who's bought the comic. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Stories going on and on. I was telling Mike we got a Wicked Wrestler coming in for the third issue. Some really dynamic characters, lots of layers to them, and some dark humor. I have humor in everything I've done. Every issue, there's some kind of good humor in there and lots of Easter eggs, homages to people. Yeah. So comic book artist life, you draw 24/7, man, and I love it. So I'm not drawing. I'm going to be doing a little bit of teaching off on the side there, and online here with you guys. Lots of fun.
And this is the prime example. Do what you love, and you will never work a day in your life.
Exactly, man. When I have somebody ask me to do a drawing, or when I'm like, or the wife's like, we need page blah blah and blah blah. It's like, awesome. I'm stoked. You know what I mean? It's because when you're fresh out of like coming out of college or school for doing something you enjoy, the worst thing is not having any jobs for that gig, right? So when you do get them, if you really, like you say, Mike, if you really enjoy what you're doing, man, it's not work. You're stoked to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's also that extra sort of bonus and benefit of sort of working for yourself and sort of not being at the behest of somebody further up the chain who may or may not deserve to be in that position.
Yeah.
And as an ex-radio guy, and I'm sure Dean would probably agree, as I've heard on many podcasts, that for me personally, like the life after radio is awesome, because I remember fighting a lot with bosses, not all of them, some were amazing, some were not, but fighting for doing things the way they should be done, or because trust your gut, trust your instincts. And now in what I do now, where I just I will do whatever the directors tell me. I will do it 1,000 different ways, and it's no sweat off my back.
Yeah, right.
Do it what you love, and you literally, it doesn't feel like work, and
that's true.
And that's why it's a very cool gig that you're doing, though, dude. And I mean,
thanks, man.
I have zero artistic ability, like zero. Like I can't. My penmanship is horrid. At the best. The best of days. So when I see, what you've done, it's like, that's really fucking
thanks, buddy. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Really appreciate that.
I couldn't even. I've been wondering, in wonder of Chris's art for as long as I've known him, just to be able to sit down and see somebody do something like that and create something like that is quite something. It was Skeletron, which looks rad, and release weekend, and it totally kicks ass, and it looks amazing. Thanks to our host, our producer on the 1 to 2, Lonnie, for figuring out my Android enough that I could actually download it onto my phone, because for some reason I wasn't able to do that. But Skeletron, $4.99. Pick it up. If you got a Kindle, Android, Apple, you can get it all there. It's really, really cool, man. It's rad. It looks totally dead.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And the physical copy will be available in the Kingston surrounding area soon.
Nice. Kingston. There we go.
Okay, so I'll probably get it as far as Toronto. It just depends how far I want to drive and drop these off again. You know what I mean? The cool thing is nowadays, though, you can go and drop the comics off, and you don't have to drive back to get your money for them. You know what I mean? I remember back when we were in a band back in the day, we would drive all over the place and drop CDs off, and you had to drive back out to all these places. And sometimes you're like, I'm not driving all the way back out there for $50 for whatever they had for you, right? So yeah, so this will be better. So I'll be able to drop them off at stores. So I guess as far as I want to drive, probably, you know what I mean? And Brent, you know how much I love sitting in a car and driving, so
you love it.
Maybe I'll hire somebody to do it for me. I hate sitting in a car.
It's the year in review. We're going to go over some stuff. It's been a big year. 2020 was definitely the weirdest year of most people's lives, myself included, and it keeps getting weirder. But anyways, it's kind of an interesting thing. There were so many stories, so many things that kind of happened, but it was actually, I found it to be as kind of weird as it was. It was a bit of a lighter year on some stuff, maybe because there's just not the anarchy happening in the world. Like this concert happened, or this happened, or this happened. Right. Like the last big concert you heard reported was like J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl.
Well, and ISIS took a break. Like before, all you were hearing about all these terrorist attacks and everything, and now it's just like, no, they're done too. Which is weird because you would think that this would be the time that they would be doing all that. Anyway, that's a whole deal there, but that just kind of.
Well, they're even, it's a little bit.
But it's a weird year, very strange year.
It's a weird year. And it kicked off. I mean, who wants to start this? We got a whole list of stuff, but I guess the biggest thing that had everyone talking in January was the Tiger King.
Oh, the Tiger King, and that's my department. I watched that right off the bat. At least I don't know. Did you watch it, Mike?
I watched. I did. I wasn't as. It didn't enthrall me as much as it did the rest of the world.
Right.
But it was, again, it was this insane piece of television that Netflix just raked in.
And it came out right at the beginning of the shutdown, right? Like right when everybody was stuck. Yeah, it's it was 8 episodes, true crime drama, available on Netflix starting April 24th. And the funny thing is that check this out. I got some numbers for you guys today, man. I got a little technical on everything, but I got some interesting numbers on some stuff. So this one here, man, had 34.3 million viewers over the first 10 days, right? That's ridiculous. Like, but if the lockdown didn't happen, I don't think people would have keyed into this show at all because, like, when I watched, I thought it was interesting, but I thought, wow, this is like a niche. Not like, I didn't think everybody would like it. It's one of those things, right? Same with Mandalorian. Is everybody going to like The Mandalorian? Yeah, they did. I didn't see this coming either. But interesting fact about it was supposed to be just a documentary on captive tigers at first, right? And then they met this Joe Exotic guy, and they're just like, holy cow. So you just, when you get into Joe Exotic's life, it's ridiculous, you know? And then the other one that was the main one was the Carol Baskins, right? And so Carol Baskins. Yes. Hi, kitties and hot cats, or whatever she used to say, right? And they're both
Carol Baskins.
Yeah, right. So they both had like these tiger farms where people could come in and pet them and whatever. And then first it was just kind of a documentary to see how they treated them, but then they started seeing how crazy both these people were going at each other and trying to take each other out. That's what the documentary became. So the show ended, going into every little detail of the show. You know, if you haven't watched it, wow, go back and watch it if you're really interested in something really quirky and weird and just seeing some very strange people. And you like tigers, I guess. But at the end of the show, Joe went to jail. Joe's in jail for attempting murder, so he's trying to hire somebody to kill Karen Baskins. And as the documentary went on, you kind of got the grasp that Carol killed her husband. I was 100% in believer that she killed her husband. That was just so crazy, right? So now there's a new investigation launched against her. So it ended horribly for these two people who were the stars of the show, which I find just friggin' hilarious, just in the scheme of things. Because if you watch the show, they're both not. There's not really anybody who's a really good person in the show, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Like one person even commits suicide by accident. They accidentally shoot themselves in the head. One of Joe's boyfriends, and he had a thing for younger men, like legal age men, but he had a thing for younger men. And Carol was just creepy. Like you could tell that she this thing about her husband missing, and her new husband was just like Mr. Turtle, man. He was such a geek. It was crazy. He sang a song.
How far did you make it in, Mike? How far did you make it?
Oh no, I watched all the episodes.
You got to watch it all, right? It's like a car accident. You got to.
Well, it really is. I mean, just the dynamic of the two characters, like the main characters, they're real people, but they were so bigger than life kind of characters. I thought it was kind of interesting how that even dragged into later on in the year when Carol Baskins was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
wow.
And that was a big deal there because a lot of people were poo-pooing that because of the investigation into her ex-husband's death. And I want to say that there were ads bought by people that were relatives of Carol Baskin's first husband that ran during the shows, basically, to bring these things to light. So it was, I thought it was, again, a show like that where, like you said, Chris, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities.
No, there was no heroes in that documentary at all.
If you can, if you can find anything, it's the fact that they loved tigers, but it was pretty brutal that that kind of a character is what something like a Dancing with the Stars thought would be a great thing for bringing in audience viewers. And
Mhm.
I mean, that just tacks onto the whole, like, what kind of a society have we become
Yeah,
when,
right.
we're celebrating people
Yeah.
of that alleged sort of background. But
Mhm.
that was 2020, man.
That was, yeah.
It's year of COVID, like you said, Brent. It was completely bizarre, and that kicked it off, more or less.
We got a shout out here to who we got? Lord of Flames. Lord of Flames. Is that? Oh, it's Quinn. Oh, Quinn, Lord of Flames. You know when somebody has a name online, but you know who it is, but you don't know their name. Okay, hi Quinn. Just had a shout out. Everyone say hi to Quinn. He's doing good.
Hey, Quinn.
He's out by you there, Brent. We've got a viewer from your area.
Well, what do you know?
Right on.
It's a lively bunch out this way.
Yeah, he's got his own channel doing.
That's funny because that wasn't the Wrestling with Shadows. What was the Bret Hart one? Wrestling with Shadows. What was the one where it started as this and then it turned into, it started forming into the Montreal Screwjob and then seeing the rest of it, and it turned into like must-watch wrestling, stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that was a huge story back in the day, man. Yeah.
it's crazy. So,
So that's
now,
the Tiger King. Yeah. So, Mike,
That
what
was
would,
the
what, would you,
Tiger
what would
King.
you give the Tiger King out of 10, buddy?
Tiger King. Well,
As far as the documentary drama kind of thing, right?
I'd give it an 8.
on.
Some people loved it, gave it a 10. I mean, it was, again, at that time, we're starting to get into the sort of lockdown phase, and Netflix, like all sort of online TV binging, that became like a big thing. And
Sure did.
And I think that's kind of why, sort of by the end of the year, I was kind of burned out from watching anything.
Yeah.
Because
I know I haven't really. I haven't really watched anything. We watched a whole bunch of stuff. I've rediscovered Archer, just discovered Archer, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then so I'm piling through that. Chris, I saw the Titans that you were talking about, so we'll get into that.
Oh, you got to watch that.
Like we're
It's
just
really
we're gonna start getting into that. So there's a few things. One of the coolest things that's happening outside of Rad Podcasts popping up and everyone having a voice now. I wanted to. Did anybody check out Josh Gad's stuff? So
oh my God!
So he got the Back to the Future team back together, got the Goonies, got all these people back together to kind of get the cast back together that haven't been together for a long time. So definitely people getting creative, and I thought that was one of the highlights of the year for sure.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Definitely. I mean, that when you've got, Hollywood especially, it's shut down, and a lot of these actors, they had all this time on their hands that they weren't expecting, and while some relaxed and sort of took advantage of not having to do anything, and actually living off the money that they've packed away, some realized that there was a real big opportunity, because you have all these people online just craving any sort of content to pass the time, put a smile on their face. And Josh Gad, he hit it out of the park with this one.
Did you see any of them, Chris? Did you
No,
see any of the
I
ones that he was
briefly,
trying to
Lonnie
do?
was watching them. I briefly saw a little bit of it. I got the idea. It looks really cool. Really cool. As I say, I was cranking on a couple pages here today and getting all my stuff ready for the others. But yeah, it sounds really cool.
The Lord of the Rings episode raised $2 million
Wow.
for charity, which is insane.
That's
like,
awesome.
I mean,
That it was Lord of the Rings, but anyways,
yeah, well,
one ring to rule them all.
and
I just watched
the fact that they were able to pull together, most of these casts. I
Yeah.
mean, with the exception of, I don't think Crispin Glover was in the Back to the Future one. They didn't get him. Hugo Weaving wasn't part of the Lord of the Rings one, but I mean, it was really cool to see like the cast of Goonies. To see Ferris Bueller's Day Off was probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
So what did they do with though? As I say, I haven't really watched the whole thing. So they
Basically
get
a
the
Zoom.
crew back together from
Yeah.
a classic movie, and then what do they do? Do they reenact it or?
No, they talk about the movie.
Oh, okay.
He would bring on, for example, the Ferris Bueller one, he and Matthew Broderick would talk a little bit. Then they'd bring in Alan Ruck, and then Mia Sarah, and then, eventually you get a good chunk of the cast talking about the making of the film. And it was that one was really cool because
that's really good. I like that.
John Hughes, and I'm a huge, kid of John Hughes.
Oh, me too,
film.
buddy.
Like
Yeah.
we all are. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And at the end of that episode, it was cool because they did a montage of John Hughes films, and they would get the actors sort of reciting lines in sync with the film that made them popular. So you had Chevy Chase, you had Michael Keaton was doing stuff, Judd Nelson. And so it was really cool, and it was that sort of nostalgia kick. And I think that the nostalgia, seeing these people that you grew up watching, or a good chunk of us did grew up watching, sort of getting back together. And I think it was that whole idea of getting together, reaching out to people that you may not have in a long time, because things are uncertain.
Funny, to your point, they're sitting around doing nothing. But the funny part is like, why didn't anyone? I know there's always reunion stuff, and it's like now everyone's like, sure, I got nothing going on. So it has definitely created some deadly content. There's some really cool stuff out there. That's come out of it. Chris, what are you seeing online? What do you see?
It's the acting world. It's the acting world answer to all those 80s artists that have decided to make comeback tours. So it's like, it's the acting world basically, trying to get there.
Yeah, nostalgia's huge right now, right? Like people love the Easter eggs and stuff. I remember when I was I'd say like maybe in the 90s or something, everybody's, it's got to be original, or you don't make it sound like this, or don't make this drawing looks like this, or somebody's done this. And nowadays it's like, just like an Empire. That's so cool. You know what I mean? Like people kind of dig that kind of thing now. So yeah,
Kiss just blew up Dubai, dressed as Kiss. You can't tell me people aren't retro, even if it's just Gene and Paul. And I'm just saying, it's like, there's still, hey, Kiss did New Year's in Dubai and basically lit off every firework that wasn't used.
They broke a world record, apparently.
Wow.
Oh, that's, of course, Gene wants to do that.
Is that their last show? Is that their farewell gig, or
no? That's just Dubai on a Tuesday night.
Okay, cool. Okay, I wasn't sure how they were doing it.
I can imagine Gene was like, "What do we got to do? We got to blow it all up."
Yeah. Well, I
watched the pre-video. My buddy Chad worked on it, and for me, I was interested because there's a whole shit ton of protocol, COVID protocol stuff in there about returning and sort of stuff. So it was really great to watch that. But then as I was watching the pre-documentary, it was like Dubai, and I'm like, let's all go to Dubai.
Wow.
Like it's the Kiss Dubai hotel. It's Kiss. Kiss online. It was interesting, but people are down with retro now, especially when they're sitting around and they need something else to watch.
Yeah.
Chris, what was anything grind your gears this year?
Oh, geez, where do I begin? My gears get grinded easily. No, I'm pretty laid back. I don't know what. Ever since my wife, as I've said before, my wife was sick for many years there, and ever since she's been healthy, I've had a different look on life after I've relaxed from that whole situation. Some things bounced our way, so I really am. I'm probably one of the most easygoing guys you're going to find. Yeah, I don't know. I know people had a rough go with this thing, but I really like staying at home. As I say, when I traveled in a band for such a long time, it just killed my road legs. I don't like travel, so I like staying at home. But as far as stuff that pissed me off online, I don't know. I don't like country music.
It doesn't piss me off.
Whenever I'd see it online, that pissed me off a bit. But other than that, I'm pretty cool. I don't like the Housewives of Atlanta and stuff like that. That pisses me off.
What really grinds Chris's gears?
The Housewives of Atlanta. That grinds my gears kind of. But no, I've had a great. My daughter had to move back from Vancouver from hanging out and working for you and stuff because of everything shut down. So she's moved back. So we built the apartment down there. I got the comic book out. I'm not teaching as much lessons, which I enjoy, but still teaching. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so unangry right now too, right? Like if you catch me like
done it on Sunday. There's ways to be, there's people that should be angry, or people that had it way worse.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, right? I have a hard time getting angry about stuff nowadays, especially getting older. It's like I'm so appreciative for everything, and it's like Mike says, man. If you're doing something you love, it's not work. So a lot of the times I don't feel like I'm working, which I love. Because when I was younger, it was like, man, I do not want to work. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to draw. I just want to play music. And when I did have the lifestyle of playing music, I was so unhealthy and I wasn't making any money and anything, right? So now things are really, really, really comfortable for me. I like it. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I can't complain too much, guys.
Did you guys watch the junior game? So junior game, I think, wrapped up.
Oh, yeah,
now,
go
right?
Canada. We're like killing everybody. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Did you get it in?
What, the game?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched a little bit of the one today.
Yeah.
Just a bit. We got a goalie, huh?
Canada, Russia. Yeah.
Yeah. Last I saw was 4-0 for Canada over Russia.
Yeah. So I didn't see if they gave up 5 goals, but I doubt it the way they were playing. But
Right.
that leads to I want to talk sports for a minute.
Sure.
Sports. So a few things. Obviously, our level of sportness. I mean, I love all sports, but I obviously watch hockey and all the rest of it. And everyone made an attempt to do something. The NBA went down to and had a bubble, and Major League Baseball did their thing. Hockey did their thing. Overall thoughts on the attempts there and the shortened NHL season, which is starting in a couple of days, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we think on the sports side? And we can tie that into wrestling a bit, Mike, because I want to talk about WWE and AEW sort of playing to empty arenas. But let's start with the major sport leagues first and go from there.
I was actually really surprised. I mean, all things considered, the fact that we did get, essentially full seasons out of the Big Four. I thought basketball they got it right as far as the bubble and hunkering down in Orlando there. I actually enjoyed the thing I enjoyed the most about the whole, especially hockey, and this is something that our buddy Adam we talked about, was this may have been the first NHL season where the best team actually won strictly based on skill. And I say that because, sport over, many, many decades can be determined not only by skill, but by the extra man in the stands, the fans, the
home ice advantage.
the atmosphere of the arena, that can bring a team that's struggling back to life. It's that spark. So not having that, I thought it was a really interesting sort of peek into, skill actually winning out. And I thought it was probably one of the best NHL finals we'd had in many years, strictly just from a pure entertainment and skill of the game. And kudos to a lot of the big sort of like the
there was
Tuukka Rask went home.
I think Marchand was, or
Tuukka Rask said, "I don't like this. This is not exciting."
Eliminated, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know, Chris. What did you think overall? I mean, the Leafs obviously.
I stopped watching. I'm one of those.
The presentation of it, man.
Yeah, I'm such a diehard Leaf fan, man. When the Leafs are out, I stop watching. So, yeah, I saw the Leafs play, and then I was out, man. That's it. I've been watching the Leafs as long as I've been listening to Kiss and Spider-Man. Those are the three things there, right? That my dad got the Leafs in. The other two are kind of on my own that I found. But yeah, I didn't watch anything after the Leafs. And I don't watch any other sports other than wrestling. Wrestling's still considered a sport, right? Like,
if they're flipping around doing stuff, it's a sport. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, I like it. I love sleep. So as far as sports go, I just kind of stopped watching sports. Like, I miss I think I said before too, is that I'm okay without hockey during the week, but Saturday night I need my hockey night in Canada, man. I gotta have that with my beer, my Coors Light or whatever light beer old guy beer I'm drinking, right? So I miss that. But it's coming back soon, next week or Wednesday, 19th.
Yeah, we're gonna get some. We're gonna get some stuff. We're gonna get some.
Yeah, but as I say, like, I play hockey online a lot. NHL 20, but hockey, and I did BMX when I was younger. I was a little BMX freak. That was fun.
I thought it was. I thought how the networks adapted to it by piping in the crowd noise to sort of at least enhance the presentation.
You know what they did with NHL though, right?
Which
EA Sports.
Yes.
So they piped in the EA Sports background, which I thought was deadly.
That's really cool.
And to their credit, I mean, there were times where you could, early on especially, I mean, they're fine tuning, they're tweaking as they're going along. Mm-hmm. But it got to the point where I wasn't really as distracted, and it wasn't as much of a, oh great, now they're piping in fake crowd, blah blah blah, which goes back to our dear friend Adam and Randy Orton. Sort of, there's the wrestling tie. The greatest wrestling match of all time.
That's what they said. They called it. Yeah.
Yep. If you remember that pay-per-view, that was the first match that used a piped in crowd,
Ah.
that used piped in sound effects, and they got shit on by a big chunk of the, the IWC, the Internet Wrestling community, uh, for like, oh God, how tacky, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh, cool. They got Howard Finkel. They used his footage because Howard had passed away by then.
Mm-hmm.
They used his ring announcing to introduce the match. It was very cool. It was very tasteful. And all of a sudden, after this, then you've got NHL, you've got Major League Baseball, NBA. They're all starting to pump crowd. Then it's oh no, this is. So I know that in talking to him, he was like, yeah, we started this.
Yeah,
man.
there you go.
All over this.
Chris,
But-
you're a big AEW fan, so they had the massive launch. They came out swinging on everything, and then obviously we had to go into this. But you've stuck to it hard. What's your thoughts on the non-fan? I mean, they got fans now, but the non-fan wrestling.
So you kind of cut AEW we're talking about?
Yeah, AEW just in general. You've been sticking with it, and they've
Yes.
been going pretty hard, and
Yes.
they've just
They
added
had a big year.
they've added fans. But I guess the question is more, what is your thoughts on wrestling without fans?
Oh
Because
yeah. Well, it was.
go for a while, I think.
But the thing about when I was watching the AEW is it was really cool because the wrestlers would hang around the outside that were okay with it, whatever, or they'd have masks on. They'd hang around the outside of the fence, and they would cheer them on. And they all really seem like they're really happy to be there. Like all the people that work for AEW, which is really really cool. So I was okay with it. It is weird. It was really weird at first because when somebody does a big move, you're waiting for that, oh, and when you don't hear it, it's like, okay, at first it kind of took a little bit out of the move, but also you could see some wrestlers. I think this really threw up the bar for wrestlers, like, because some of them just couldn't really pull it off.
Kevin
You know what I
Owens-
mean?
didn't
Like,
Kevin Owens say that he goes, man, I've owned, like we all wrestled for 25 people. It's fine.
Yeah,
Some of the
yeah.
other guys didn't.
some of them, though, you could tell they just didn't have it in them. One of them that I noticed, and I don't know if this was because they're not a very good wrestler, and I probably not, I'm going to say that, but was a Brandy there, Cody's wife. I found her matches were just like she'd run at somebody and the kick would be like that quick kind of thing, and it was like you didn't look like she was really feeling the adrenaline of what was going on. I've seen that kind of thing in a few others, but this is just the AEW that I watched. But I love seeing the other groups in there of the wrestlers cheering them on. I thought that was really great. And then they could pick out the wrestlers they didn't like and kind of jaw with them on the side and whatever. But yeah, I did notice that some of them didn't quite have that pizzazz going on. What did you think in the WWE, Mike?
Well, the presentation across, I mean, if you look at the three, I say the three bigs, I mean, Impact Wrestling, WWE, AEW, I mean, Ring of Honor, some of the smaller organizations. I'm not saying they're small, but we're talking the top tier at this
You
point.
can say it. You can say
no,
it.
you're right.
The national brands that generally you would think are the national brands. I thought Impact Wrestling had maybe one of their best years from a talent standpoint and a creativity standpoint. I think what they did with their their roster of talent was excellent. Some of the funniest moments. I mean, they did the wrestler house. They did basically it was a bunch of wrestlers all living in the same. It was a series of sketches, I know Tommy Dreamer, who Tommy worked with us on
He's
the
awesome,
Christian
dude.
show. Tommy's a wicked he is.
Just missed him in
funny.
Kingston before the lockdown came.
Yeah,
He was here with a whole bunch of them.
He's such a good dude. He's super creative.
Nice.
And they did their own thing, and they took advantage of sort of what the new normal was. The one thing that I think lacked a bit was the fact that they didn't have any, there's no crowd noise. It's just match and the commentators. So it was okay, but probably one of their best years as far as talent goes.
Yeah.
WWE with their Thunderdome, again, they decided not to go the way that AEW did, which was more sort of, I don't say raw, organic. They went big and flashy, and they got the money to do it.
Yeah.
I thought the virtual crowd was a really cool concept. I think they had some kinks they had to work out early on because there were people that were putting up signs. that were taking advantage of.
Wasn't
of
Chris
the fact-
Benoit cited on there?
There was a bunch of stuff. So there were a lot of rules that were put in place. I know there were some people that were a little upset that they were basically using the people that were on previous shows almost as stock footage, and would just because people would be like, "Hey, I saw myself on this episode of SmackDown, and I wasn't there. This is from when I was on 2 weeks ago."
Right.
But the presentation, I thought it was a really great way for them to sort of evolve and realize, okay, we're not getting fans back. How can we make this not only immersive and good looking for TV, but for the talent themselves, to give them something to work to. And when I say something to work to, this especially with how things have gone, you saw some talent pick up their game and realize that they had to present their characters, present the stories, present the whole picture in a different way. Randy Orton, boom, top shelf. I think this was probably his best year of work.
Right. Yeah,
not only from a wrestling, but from his promo work. Roman Reigns, by the end of the year, man, dude's firing on all cylinders. Edge, yeah, like early on in the year, I mean, that's the one. Again, it's a personal thing, but it sucked so bad that
it was my highlight of the year, the return. And I think the other side of it is that outside of the fact that, we talked about this, Mike, in the summer, but not you knew, but I didn't know. And the great thing about it was, knowing after, or I got to experience that, which even though you knew, I got to experience sitting there on the couch with Alex and then that number hitting and being like, holy shit, he did it. He did it. And that was a great moment. And then he did WrestleMania, which was, it was a cool kind of thing. At the time I was like, why don't they just shut wrestling down? Let's just wait till the whole thing starts again. I was kind of there. And Chris, like, I don't, but AEW put out such killer stuff. And I don't know, what's your personal wrestling highlight of the year? Chris, you go, because you've got a ton of AEW ones, but what's your favorite moment from wrestling this year, given what was going on?
What are you showing me? Oh, when Beth was on our show.
Oh, yes, that was glorious.
Yeah,
that was a great moment. I thought that was really, really cool.
We need to have her back for the 80s retro wrestling extravaganza we're gonna have.
That was really, really cool. But like in the ring, like that, I don't know. Having her on the show was really cool for me. Hopefully you showed a picture over there. What am I thinking here? I like that wrestler Warhorse. There's some independent wrestlers that I really, really like. And I just love following him. He's working so hard, putting up things every day, and just, I sent some pictures his way and he put them up immediately. Like I just put them online and he put them right up on his feed there. He's into Lobo, right? Like the old, remember Lobo, Brent, the old comic book guy there? And he's been on Superman, Lobo has.
We named the band after
this guy, from Mr. Machete, came from a Lobo comic book. So this wrestler Warhorse just loves Lobo and he's kind of positioning himself after. So, and he was on AEW. He got one shot on there. They didn't sign him or anything, it was a weird one though, because then they brought in an even bigger superstar at the end of that match. I can't remember his name because I really wasn't into him too much. He was from WWE though. But so it was probably wasn't Mary Delana. What's his name? He was friends with Cody.
Oh, Sean Spears.
Was it? Was it
Sean Spears? Was it early, Chris, in the year, or was it like?
No,
maybe Rusev. It was when the lockdown was come over. Maybe Rusev was in there.
Rusev was later in the year.
Yeah, and he teamed up with that Kip dude. I can't stand that. There's some wrestlers that, the hybrids. I can't stand them. But those dudes can wrestle, dude. You know what I mean? Kip Sabian. Hope he's not your friend, Mike. Kip Sabian's one of those guys. It's funny because most people, Mike, I have to ask. Because I don't want to offend. You're not friends with that dude, are you? But Kip Sabian, I can't stand Kip Sabian. I don't know how he got what's her name there, man, whatever.
Yeah, I thought AEW, I love my WWE. I have some excellent ties and friends there. But AEW did an amazing job, and it was really the fact that you had two very different presentations, and it felt very much like late 90s WWE. And I'm a big fan of the underdogs, the guys that they didn't give the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega a lot of, they didn't give them a lot of credit.
No.
They figured this was just going to be, a great idea. Cody coming in, just doing their thing. Tony Khan was going to be a money mark, and it wasn't going to last, and it wasn't going to have any sort of legs. And they've proven pretty much everybody wrong. And this is without having the luxury of a big audience and a big crowd, doing live shows. But they got into Dilly's place. They built their own little sort of.
I've done a show there, by the way, and it smells like coffee.
What a great looking
right beside
venue.
Maxwell House. It's right beside Maxwell House, and it smells like coffee.
I love that
I
venue,
love
man. It looks so cool. I used to love the old ECW venue too.
It's a tiny little amphitheater. It's really cool.
But it's very different. It's two very different shows where one, again, it's almost very old. It's wrestling, and you've got guys like Chris Jericho, who, the man has reinvented himself, hundreds of times it seems at this point. And he was, he brought that name recognition and the experience, and John Moxley coming over was a big get.
Oh, that's huge, huh?
And Tony Khan has, he had a lot of people in the wrestling community that were questioning whether or not he was just a fanboy with a pocketbook and wasn't going to be, taken seriously. And this was just going to be a money losing venture. Remains to be seen if it is going to be a money making or a money losing venture.
I think it's going to be moneymaker, and I think it's in for the haul. I think it is the actual. We have a legit number 2 now, and I think the only thing that would really that's really going to hinder it. I got to tell you, with the talent that they have there and all the rest of it, the longer it does go without full fans and getting back to being able to, you can do it in this stage, but like that accomplishment of them selling out the MGM in Vegas and things like that, when they kind of came out swinging with those big crowds and proving that they were a legit number 2.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a legit number 2 to watch, but you need that other side of it to me, which is like, all right, now we've got 10,000 people in here, and this is we can legit sell 10,000 tickets. And I think that gets fans in that sort of like number 2. And content's everything. And it depends on what one you like better as far as programming. So anyways,
and this is, I think this is what will be sort of going into 2021. You're going to see now WWE for the longest time has been, essentially the only game in town. And like with anything, you can brand split as much as you want. You can, move your roster around as much as you want. It's still the same ship. Yeah. Most are still fighting for the same cause. Yeah. Now you've got a legit competitor, and you legit have not only a competition that you have to program, not necessarily against reactively, but you have to program to keep an audience that has grown smaller over the years. And I think this is the one thing that, wrestling really started to realize is that pie that The Rock and Stone Cold had is no longer here. It's no longer, wrestling isn't exactly as mainstream and as popular as it was late 90s. So your pie is smaller. Well, now you're fighting for a bigger chunk of that pie, where AEW seems to be taking the approach, and same with Impact, considering they've got the crossover now, is we're all in this. Why don't we all work together so that we can make this better? Whereas WWE, God bless Vince, I don't think he's changing, even at his late age.
Chris isn't going to bless him.
Well, no, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Harold Ballard from back in the Leaf days. Remember Harold Ballard from back in the Leaf days? Well, at this stage, right? Just a grumpy old man. Get off my lawn.
You tell him to shave that mustache or it's over.
It can be, Hunter can talk all he wants about, well, if the opportunity is great for both of the parties, we're open to working with anybody.
Right. There's no way.
That just speak for, unless
I told you the other day, I would love it if they when they do a roster change on SmackDown and Raw, they actually go, oh, by the way, we traded Kevin Owens.
He traded like teams. Yeah.
And we've got Cody back, and Cody's pissed because he's back in WWE. And what a great line it would be.
You've got WWE, which is a publicly traded company, and that's right there.
Hilarious.
It's never going to change.
No.
My highlight of the year, Brent, you alluded to it, and
what?
Right there.
Yeah, he was there for it.
How did you get to keep the chair?
Well, he had to take one over the face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did. Some little 12-year-old kid tried to hit me in the back with one, and I said no. No, no, no,
that will
no.
not happen.
No, that was Royal Rumble was the last live event that I was at this year to see Adam come back
Nice.
after seeing the whole process, sort of like with
What a moment.
mouth
Wow.
shut, and to see it happen, to be there live in the arena.
Mhm.
That is, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I'm
That's
not
awesome,
sold
buddy.
it can be topped. I got to tell you, man, I'm not sold it's ever going to be topped. Who is completely, it's not going to be topped on a level, but
John Cena's comeback in, I think it was 2008.
I'm talking about what he went through and the training and all the rest of it, and to come back and surprise everybody and keep it under wraps. I just can't. The only thing that I could possibly imagine, two bigger pops and bigger scenarios, not bigger, but at least at the same size, would be the first entry of the Royal Rumble is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and number 2 is CM Punk.
Yeah, I think CM Punk could possibly get that kind of a reaction, but I mean, in the grand,
it's passing though. It is passing.
It is, and
the longer it goes, the longer it goes. Even Hogan talked about it today. He goes, "I go backstage, none of these guys know who I am."
Oh no, he says they treat him poorly.
Well, geez, I wonder
He's
why.
kind of
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Well, there's so much. If you put Hulk Hogan in YouTube, there's more videos of people dissing him than there is of the good things that he's done. You know what I mean? That's what happens, right? All the bad things come out when you fall from
but
your
there
throne.
was some stuff floating around on YouTube the other day of him, and I was showing Alex the Macho Man winning the belt in WrestleMania 4. And just watching the build up to that, we were just kind of watching it and sort of, who's Macho Man? And we were kind of going through all this stuff. And I mean, removing the Hogan racist bullshit out of the equation, man, when he lost to Andre in '88, I mean, you're like, what? And then he loses in the preliminaries and you're like, well, then we're going to have a new champion. But if you look back on it now, it was so obvious where DiBiase was going, but it was just funny that there was no way that final was going to be Macho and one man gang. Right. So it was just like, but Hogan
but that was also a simpler time when we didn't have the internet and we didn't have I
remember Chris, you know where I watched
that? Babe was still
at Crandall's.
Crandall's. We were just talking about Crandall's the other day.
Crandall's in Port Perry.
We were just talking about Crandall's.
I want to move on to anyways, Mike, you got that Royal Rumble moment was
that chair's awesome, dude.
And I'm so glad that you got to watch it at home
or
watch it live.
And they had a thing on TV.
I can't think it'll ever be topped. I just don't think it'll ever be topped.
They had a poll on what's the greatest Royal Rumble entrance or return, blah blah blah. I know this one was this year, but really, watch the special.
Yeah.
Watch the.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Great.
I saw Edge tweeted or Edge put up a quick little video of this little dude getting his Christmas present. It was an action figure of Edge, and the little dude just lost it. I love that stuff. That stuff is I really love that stuff.
And kudos to him. I mean, he's a really good dude.
I was gonna say
he posted about how he's like, why should I charge people who weren't even born when I was in my heyday and now are making the effort and are really interested in me now. So he's like, why should I be charged for that? And I take nothing away from other talent that use things like Cameo and sort of virtual signings and stuff like that. Hey, it's business. It is a business, at the end of the day. But kudos to him, because
I thought that was a really cool video.
I think he should be just as charitable and come on this show.
Yeah, we can talk about Kiss and.
Well, but do we really want him on this show?
No, I'm just talking about he could do a promo with that tweet. We'll be like, well, hey, you did it for that 4-year-old, so
I don't think
we'll get Beth in. She'll talk some else.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, boys, I want to move on. We're getting to an hour, so I want to pop up on a couple more things before we go. Movies that didn't come out that got pushed that you missed that you would love to, even though you don't go to the movie theater, Chris, very much.
Venom 2. I was really bummed that didn't come out, man, because that'd be my number one. Would be Venom 2 because Carnage was going to be in that. Woody Harrelson in it. It just looks so good. Carnage, that's Carnage Venom.
When did they push it till?
I don't even know. You see, when they do that, I move on to something else because I'm just so deterred. That grinds my gears. There we go. that grinds my gears. But there's nothing they can do about it, right? That totally. And I haven't seen Wonder Woman, so I don't know anything about that. But Black Widow was delayed. I can wait for that. I was kind of hoping that would just be released at home. Taskmaster's in there. That'd be really, really cool. I'm looking forward. And they have Soviet Super Soldier and stuff like that in there. I was really hoping they were going to release Black Widow at home so I could watch it here. But the Venom one, the comic book now is so amazing. And then the way they're taking it, as I mentioned, Christian Bale's going to come in and be the Lord of the Symbiotes. He's going to be like the god of all the Venoms and Carnages. But the character of Carnage is insane. I don't know if anybody, if you guys know about Carnage, but he was a piece of Venom's symbiote costume. It's not a costume, but part of him that came off and went on to this psycho guy when he was in jail. And then Woody Harrelson is going to be playing him with the red curly hair. And Carnage is awful. Carnage is like at the worst, the Joker, like just really bad. So I miss Venom. I wish Venom 2 would have came out. And plus was what's the dude
Batman. I think Batman wasn't Batman supposed to come out at least December, wasn't it? Or was it?
I don't know. I don't know. That's your department. That's your department, buddy.
I thought
You're Batman.
The Batman was coming out this year, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But yeah. Anyways, there was some there. Mike, anything that you were dying to see?
Oh yeah, Top Gun 2. I was.
Oh right.
Yeah, me too. IMAX all the way. I pre-bought.
It's like you gotta go for that. I have no real desire. I was not a huge fan of the original Top Gun. Maybe I'm weird and crazy that
85, man. Guys,
yeah, I had no real desire to see, Maverick come back and, do a victory lap here with the kid, what's his name? The kid that was in Fantastic Four.
He plays Goose's kid. I forget what his name is.
Yeah. I mean, IMAX, it's going to be visually, it's going to be amazing. And, Tom Cruise always does his own stunts and they're always,
they all went into the jets this time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, visually it'll be cool to see, but I'm only there to watch them at least do some sort of a parody or make a joke about the volleyball game
and Highway to the Danger Zone
with the gene. I'm waiting.
You guys haven't watched Archer yet? They all they do is Danger Zone jokes.
Oh no, I know.
Only does he goes, "Are you in the? Say it. Are you in the?" You in the danger zone, and then he plays Kenny Loggins. It's cool. Dude, get on that show. Holy shit!
Same guy from Bob's Burgers, right? And that guy's brilliant. I love Bob's Burgers. I've been watching.
Speaking of visually, Mike, Jennifer Connelly's in it. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
what was that movie she was in way back in the day?
Career Opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
it's enough said.
Yeah, the horse. Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, let me throw this out to you though. We've gone a pretty sizable amount of the year without having the luxury of going to our movie theaters. I think the last movie that I went and saw was that awful heist movie that Liam Neeson was in.
Oh.
Which is just horrible.
I remember the name of it.
I love me some Liam Neeson.
That'll teach you.
But this was terrible. Does the movie business as we knew it come back? Once this is
I think
done?
we touched on it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's such a good question.
I think you're gonna see, yes, when everyone's allowed and it's really back to normal again. But I don't know. The biggest thing is that people are digging being at home still, and going into a theater with like 300 other people and snacks and cracking and bullshit, and you can't really focus, and you've got an 80-inch television at home like some people do. But I'm just saying, it's like, I don't know. You're really going to have to push me to want to see it. And
well, that's us old guys too, right? Because my daughter is dying. Like, she's 24. She is dying to get out and do stuff. Like, I see her get up in the kitchen and I'm just, how's it going? What's going on?
Are
I need
the
to
romance
do something.
comedies really going to be a big movie experience again? Or can you wait for it to, I'm just saying for that kind of vibe, I think your movie experience to see it, like The Irishman was like, oh, we're so disappointed it only made it in the theater for a while. I love the movie, but I'm like, I was totally fine with watching it at home. I really didn't need to see it on the big on the big screen.
The blockbusters. It'll be interesting to see if Hollywood now goes all in on blockbuster films, because those may be the only real draws anymore.
Well, we're back to the late 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Right. How do we get them back? You got to make. Holy fuck, Jaws! You got to make it like just a magical experience, or something that you're just like, holy shit! Like I watched all the Star Wars, the latest Star Wars movies in D-Box. So D-Box is like the seat moves and everything, and it's like, I paid the $25 because it was like
It's
that
the
first time when Ray,
experience.
when Ray like is in the sand and she slides down the sand in The
Mhm.
Force Awakens, and you're like, the seat gets up and it moves and you move down the sand
Oh,
with her. And I'm
wow.
like, this is the raddest thing ever. And then,
That is wild.
you know, it was really cool. So we were able to, for Alex, I think it was Alex's birthday in July, they let us rent the whole theater out for $100.
Wow, that's
$150 or
good.
something. And we went and
Yes,
I
I've
think
heard
we
that.
watched something. I forget what we watched,
Hmm.
but it was really cool. But I was disappointed. I wanted to see Bill and Ted in the theater. I thought that was going to be great, and that came out, and then it kind of got lost. There's a lot of movies that are going straight to release, but are getting lost.
Mhm.
And I would have dug, or I think it needs to go the other way, where you're like not as expensive. I mean, it was like $30 for Milan. It was $30 for Wonder Woman. It's like,
Yeah.
is it
Yeah,
if it's
$30 to
so
watch Wonder
magical
Woman.
that it's worth $30?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's why I didn't watch
what
Wonder
would you
Woman.
pay $30 to see, Chris? What would you pay?
A new
Venom
Star Wars
2?
movie, I would pay $30 to see. But see, that's me, right? Probably a new Spider-Man movie. I wouldn't. Yeah, you don't want to know. You don't want to know what I would pay.
Any Marvel movie. I want to see the Marvel movies on the big
Yeah.
screen. Like
Yeah,
Doctor
I'd love to
Strange
see a
2.
properly done DC movie.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Doctor Strange 2 should be
Is
good.
that-
I'm a
is that
big fan of
possible?
Doctor Strange 1. What's that?
Is it possible to have a properly made DC film?
Fuck, I hope so.
Zing.
I'm going nuts.
Oh.
I'm going nuts.
Well,
I
Joker
didn't-
was
I
good,
didn't-
right? But
I
and
didn't
we
hate
talked about
Superman
this though.
Returns either.
But the Joker was such a great movie. But before they release it, they say this is outside the DC universe. Like they don't have the balls to say this is all part of one continuity like Marvel does. Marvel's like, nope, they all link together. And now Star Wars is doing the same. DC's like, well, this is kind of in the universe. And well, this was like when Flash did this, and this isn't even in the universe. And of course, that best one is the one where they say it's not in the DC universe. This is not, maybe not even the Joker. Might not be. We don't even know. We're not going to confirm anything.
Depends if Joaquin Phoenix will come back.
Yeah, but what is it in the redo of Justice League? They're bringing back what's his face that was the Joker in.
Oh yeah. What's his? I was going to call him. No, what's
I
his
know
name?
Jared Leto. We
Jared
talked about
Leto.
it.
Yeah, and he might be.
We're limiting our Jared Leto speak
Well,
down to
yeah,
nothing.
he might not be even the Joker, Mike, as we were saying. He might be that Robin that got the crap that almost died. Jason.
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd in the comic book. Jason Todd comes back and he dresses up like the Joker. Now this would make sense with the grills on his teeth. At least that's an excuse so we don't have such a crap ass Joker. You know what I mean? Like
I'm looking forward to seeing how they try and salvage Justice League with this new cut that
the new Snyder cut.
Zack Snyder cut. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's one that I would probably see on the big screen if it, came back.
Superman and Batman are great on the big screen, huh?
Mm-hmm. I didn't hate Superman. I loved Superman Returns. I thought they did a great job, but I like that. I like that guy.
Bad.
Superman. And I thought they did good.
When they need continuity, continuity.
Totally.
They have to have it flowing through so that you have to go back and watch another movie to understand what's going on in this movie. And you don't actually have to watch the whole movie in some cases. You can go on YouTube and go hidden scenes for all the Marvel movies, and they put them together for you. And it's like, whoa, oh my god, love that stuff. Again, we were talking about Todd about that. It's like hidden tracks. On CDs used to buy, right? It was like, the CD hasn't stopped. And all of a sudden a song kicks in. It's like, wow, bonus track. That's so cool. So DC...
Bonus track. We had a 12-minute bonus track.
We did, right? Our band did. But see, DC won't commit to that. Maybe because they don't want to be accused of copying Marvel. But, man, that was the problem with the X-Men movies, too. There's no continuity. You have to have continuity. The watchers and readers nowadays are much smarter than they used to be. We're not all marks anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
Like we're going to pick things out that are wrong. The nerds have risen and said, that is wrong. That is not correct.
Well, then you can just have, a movie like Deadpool 2 where, he retcons all the worst parts of the X-Men.
They did that in the comic books, dude. You should have seen what the stuff they've done with Deadpool in the comic books. It's unreal, the stuff they've done.
You know
with
what's
him,
interesting
man.
about Deadpool too? It's like
Such
they
old
canned the director.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, he wanted to take it in a different direction. It's like, why would you take it in a different direction?
Maybe he wanted to get fired, right? Because Deadpool 1 and 2 are just
fucking-
spectacular, man.
Oh my
great
God,
movies,
what a movie.
great movies. Yeah, though I love the first one was so just unexpected and amazing. Everything about it, I like right up Main Street. Like there's so many one-liners I pulled out of that movie just to get me through life after that. You know, in my conversations with people.
Two more subjects to cover, gentlemen. Chris, I know you don't buy a lot of new music, but musical highlights from the year,
don't.
anything that you grabbed?
New.
That you're like, oh, this is really cool.
I really like that Machine Gun Kelly song.
You do.
I did. I really like the Machine Gun Kelly song.
This is what it sounds like to me. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, I get it. I just
I like that,
Are you
but
talking about the new one or the record or the first single?
just the single. I don't listen to records much.
I loved him,
singles.
and I actually thought he did a great Tommy Lee in the
Oh,
Dirt.
of course he did. Yeah, yeah. So
thought he
let's
was
not
really
get
good
into
at
that though, because holy smokes, man, they really that left me a little that left a bad taste.
You
in my
notice that all the new bands are really pronouncing words now?
mouth. Yeah, well, I don't listen to anything. I'm
want
trying
to
to think of
go,
anything
like
new that
that-
I listen to, and I can't think of
They're
anything
all
off the top of my head.
pronouncing. If you listen to that Machine Gun Kelly song, it's like he's like every word is extended for 4 more bars for some
Yeah.
reason. It's driving me crazy. But a lot of them are doing that, and a lot of them, yeah. Anyways,
Well,
Michael,
the worst is the pitch shifting, though, man. Like pitch shifting is the ultimate worst thing. That hurts my ears when they do that. I just want to reach. Okay, I'm finding more things that grind my gears, Brent. Pitch shifting, over pitch shifting vocals grinds my gears.
Machete does not like Melodyne. That's
I can't.
Did you listen to new
I
Green
just
Day
don't
this year, Chris? Did you grab new Green Day record, which was killer?
No, you know what? I didn't even pay attention to it. To be honest
Matthew
with you.
Sweet's out, stuff like that.
I gotta listen to that. I go off of vibe for music, and I also have played so much music in my life, and when I listen to it, I'm an idiot. I dive into it and try and figure out what chords are. This button turns on, so sometimes I just listen to talk radio, which is a good plug for what we're doing.
You're an old man now.
I am, you know what I mean? Or I'll get in a vibe where, like, summer or spring's coming and it's all like punk pop happy, salads and Newfound Glory and old Green Day, and I'll just listen to tons of that. And then winter will come and I'll get into like some dancey 70s stuff, some funk more soul of the 70s stuff that I really enjoy. And then if I'm doing, any kind of reno thing in the middle of the summer, sometimes I'd like to get back to those 80s pop hits I've heard all my life. It's just mood. You know what I mean? But I'm weird when it comes to music, and people who've gotten used to me have wow, you like that song? And it's like, yeah, but you don't like this song? It doesn't make sense.
We've learned to accept the quirks.
Thank you. Because I don't, my music, I'm very strange when it comes to music with what I enjoy, and I'll hate a band for their fans. You know what I mean? It's like that great Sloan line. It's not the band I hate, it's their fans. Oh man, I started hating I went to see the Tragically Hip way back in the day on a Canada Day show, and this was not the Tragically Hip's fault, but the people in the crowd were a bunch of douchebags, man. The dudes were all these drunk guys, like seriously, like trying to grab on girls and just, trying to start fights with me and my friends and things. Like just one group was, and just, you go to a show and you stand with people and it's all like, woo, hey, you're singing along. That was not the vibe in this crowd, man. It was like, hunters and sports guys drunk. That's what it was, and they were.
Which
jerks.
is interesting because Gord Downey is such a deep dude.
Exactly.
To stand, and I get the okay, cool, we're gonna do it and all the rest of it, but I Gord is such a deep, like one of the best frontmen of all time. Yep. This guy, like Eddie Vedder, loves him, right? And Eddie paid like a big tribute to him, and it was really an interesting, it was like the go-to thing. It's like, and I think hockey players ruined it because once they started letting hockey players speak, it was over. It was like, what kind of music you listen to? Well, the guys got, they got the hip going, a little bit of AC/DC. Anybody else? What do you like? Yeah, the guy's got the hip going.
Well, I used to like Creed, but they're not out anymore.
What do you got going?
Creed killed music.
Yeah, Creed's pretty bad, dude.
Because the new band is deadly, and Mark Tremonti.
The guitar player, and I've reminded so many students that he used to be in Creed, and they're like, no, and then come back next lesson going, man, you were right, he was in Creed. It's like, I told you. Yeah, sorry, sorry.
Guitar player. But anyway, so musically has been interesting. Mike, what highlights this year?
You know what? This was a weird year. I mean, I almost reverted back and sort of rediscovered stuff. I will say I loved Pearl Jam's Gigaton. That may have been my favorite release of the year. My son Owen, like he's tuned, like dialed into the new stuff. Very much hip hop and some rap here and there, but he went back into the sort of the classics, and that kind of got me sort of going back and like, oh hey, if you're listening to this, listen to this. So we went down the rabbit hole, and I actually I got some new monitors for my studio, and thanks to my brother-in-law, who's a huge audiophile, and he turned me on to, because I've got Spotify, because I don't know any better. And he's like, you gotta get Amazon Music HD, because you gotta listen to some of this stuff in like HD. Now that you got like a decent setup, really experienced. So I started going back and listening to a lot of classic stuff.
Like classic rock or classic metal or the whole deal?
Well, classic rock, a little bit of everything. I mean, we went down a Beatles rabbit hole.
Oh, right on. Okay.
I've always been a huge Beatles fan. Owen got into the Beatles,
Nice.
so we started going down that road.
Day Tripper is one of the mainstays that I teach my kids at the intermediate level. Down, yeah, like that's and plus the chords are different, right? Then you go to some minor chords which are a little different than your Green Day pop kind of thing, right? So,
and this is the one thing that Owen has learned as he's been sort of like going through, because he'll start playing around and try to figure out stuff. He was trying to work through the solos of the Abbey Road medley. So like at the end he's trying to figure out the solos, but he's discovering the Beatles used a lot of really unique chord structures, and but it was really cool. Like that for me, again, this is like the whole sort of dad son thing is we're now we can connect on this. So we'd have nights where he'd be like mucking around, and we'd start playing the medley. I'll be playing the guitar, he'll play the drums, and then we'll switch it up. And
that's awesome.
So my music this year was a lot of rediscovering stuff. Like even, one of the things that I sort of kind of got introduced to a little bit this year, maybe because of the COVID, was how much TikTok has been like this big deal. And, Owen, he was doing some TikTok stuff where he'd do music things where he'd take like Sympathy for the Devil, and he would record himself playing each of the instruments and put it together and make a TikTok.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm just like, shit, like this is what we're doing in the basement for like, 2 hours. And I'm like, damn, like I didn't even know you knew the song. Yeah. Oh no, it's from Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this makes sense.
That's
now.
right.
Call of Duty, and those are the new labels, by the way.
Yeah.
What's that?
The new labels are
video games.
Video games, really, honestly, they're bringing. I mean, NHL's got a massive soundtrack, and football.
GTA 5,
GTA back Vice City was such a great soundtrack.
Now, when we started this back a while ago, we were talking about the AEW video game that's coming out. So hopefully that's still coming shortly. Anyways, musically, I'm with you, Mike. I revisited some stuff. I rediscovered Faith No More again, which was great. I kind of went back to some of that stuff. Deftones record this year, deadly. New Deftones album is amazing record, amazing sonically, incredible. And that Green Day record this year is like a 50s kind of throwback vibe to that album. And I think sometimes you get artists that think it out. Sometimes I find Green Day, like when they'll put out just like, remember they did those like Own Those Trays records or something. It was like just a pile of songs they threw out, and there's a bit of filler and stuff, but I feel like he really thought this one out. It's a really cool. I know they were poised for a big year. They were going to have a big tour with Weezer and everybody and go all over the place. But that new Green Day record was really great. It was a 50s kind of rockabilly throwback with some punk. I really dug it. I thought it's my favorite album of theirs since probably Nimrod. So, really cool. Deftones, and then just rediscovering some of the artists that I dig, still putting some stuff out. So yeah. There's the band from Coburg is doing really well. What the hell are they called? Cold? No. What the hell are they called? There's a band called Cold Years from Ontario that's doing well. Did we lose you? Yeah. He's look at that. Oh, there he's back.
Oh, he's back.
We're all good.
Hello. There's a band I think from Coburg that we talked about, Chris. Cleopatra.
I don't know. I don't remember them.
I think they're like in your area, and they're really killing it.
Okay.
And then there's bands that I always like kind of go, man, what a year it would have been for them if they could have played live.
Like our other Kingston band here, my daughter was doing some work for. What are they called?
Glorious Sons.
Glorious Sons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Talking music, what's the one show that you were looking forward to this year that you didn't get to do? Chris?
What show was I going to do?
What show were you looking forward to seeing?
Going to see it. Oh, well, actually, my buddy Jeff in Moist was going to do a tour with a bunch of bands, like with Big Wreck.
The Headstones.
The Headstones. Tea Party. They were going to do this big tour, and I was really looking forward to going to see that because I get some special treatment and stuff. And I see Brent spoiled me now. I can't go to just a show. You know what I mean? Like,
Brent has that effect.
How hard is it, Mike, to just go to a show now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he can't hook you up with a ticket, or if he's there, that's like beyond.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, guilty. I love going to shows that Brent's at. I mean, when you had me down to see Heart, I thought that
that's
was like
great.
that was kick ass.
Mhm.
Killer
Like,
show. Killer
because
show.
I'd always, Heart's one of those bands that I wish I would have seen them in their heydays,
Mhm.
But when I saw them, and Ann and Nancy Wilson are like just as good, if not better, it was just phenomenal.
It was
Oh,
heavy
it
as
was
shit, man.
That's a
Heavy
great
as
woman
shit.
power night. As my daughter was at that, and seeing those, including like Joan Jett, changed her life. But the best was the sound check, man. I'm standing up there with Brent and my wife, and we're talking to the drummer of Joan Jett's band, I think, or was it? Yeah, anyway, I think it was the drummer of Joan Jett's band. And Joan comes out, and dude, like, I'm not a tall guy. She's like way short, big. Hey, what's going? Big New York accent. What you want me plugging over you over there? What we doing, boys? What's going on? Huh? It was just like, whoa! You could feel the rock and roll radiating off of this lady, man. Like, and my daughter saw her play and was just floored. Like, she went from that, like, to see a real musician like Joan Jett. Heart's great, but Joan, oh man. Joan. Yeah.
I had a real interesting moment because I don't fan out too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the first record next to Too Fast for Love that I ever had was Joan Jett's, I Love Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And so I brought it with me because I'm like, all right, I got to do this.
Beautiful.
Wow.
I got to do this. So I brought it out, and I said, listen, this is the first record I ever had, or one of the first two. And she signed both sides of the 45. Wow. And one was like, I'm so happy this was your first album. And number two was like, thanks for touring with me. And I was like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
It's over. Like, there's no, just in a funny way. Right. But
that's cool.
But she was really great. And then when she was playing in Abbott, they fell in love with BC so much that I would get calls from her manager, like, after the tour was done. Mm-hmm. Did you find Joan a place to live yet? Just funny shit. And then I was in Australia last year, and she was playing at a festival, and so all their people were there. Oh. And so I go there, and I'm watching the show, and it was really awesome to just be there. And I'm watching the show, and Annie and the team from them, they brought me back, and Joan comes in, and they're like, you remember Brent from Vancouver? And she goes, you find me a place to live yet? I was just like, come on. It was like, come on, that's it. So
powerhouse, tiny little powerhouse, man.
Deadly. So she was great. That was a big moment of touring for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
This year, it would have been, I mean, there was a plan that was concocted between Adam and myself that there were 3 shows that we were pretty much locked in to go see. We were going to go see the Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. They were doing their 25th anniversary tour. Mm-hmm. Pearl Jam was going to be in March at I forget what
in Hamilton. We had it all set up through my old boss in Hamilton.
Yeah. And the last one's going to be the Black Crowes because the brothers had gotten back together. So that was the trifecta, and it really stung when things got canceled, and it was like, oh man,
it gets real when things like that. It's like, what do you mean I can't go see a concert? And then the next year, what do you mean that's canceled? And then it starts to get real, right?
I was supposed to tour with Aerosmith this year, so that was going to be kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ozzy. I actually had an Ozzy tour and an Aerosmith tour both lined up that both went away, and I'm like, listen, if COVID didn't kill them, there's still hope, and I'm still lined up to go out with.
I think everybody's going to go on tour after this, man. It's going to be just like boom.
It was tough. There was certainly some stuff missed there, but
well, and I mean, and that in itself, there. I mean, a friend of mine, Chad Yeti Ward, who's the drum tech with Taylor Hawkins.
Nice.
He spearheaded this great sort of project during the COVID times called Roadie Relief, where he was trying to raise money for all these crew members that were out of work because of the canceling of shows and stuff. So
we had something similar to that here in Canada called the Unison Benevolent Fund, which was really great.
Yeah, nice. And I thought what was really cool for me is that I mean, dude has like a heart of gold, amazing guy, but he started up this Instagram page where I got to learn about all these different crew members that that were working on shows, the different jobs they do, and it's cool because on my I'm like seeing, hey, this is so and so, and I was a lighting rig guy for this tour and that tour, and this is what and I'm like, damn, like this is one of the big things that really sucked. And I know because Brent, this is where you do your gold, man. Like you put on these killer shows, and to not being to
Well,
not
the
being
bands put on killer shows, but
yeah, man. But
You put it together.
You gotta make it look good, and you make it look good, and you make it make sense. So that to me was kind of a bittersweet, cool thing to see over the years, is get to learn what all these people that put that do this for a living. Because in my little bubble, Brent is like he's the guy. Brent does all the concerts in the world. Like Brent is the only production manager that I know. So and it was really neat to see that.
The drummer, Taylor's drum tech, which is, he's way cooler than me. Funny note about Taylor, not your Taylor, Chris, but Taylor from Foos. I was in where was it, Germany.
Oh, this is when you were on the Halsey tour, wasn't it? Or was Rod Stewart?
No, it was on it was on Shakira.
Oh,
and
Shakira.
I'm in Germany, and we're on a day off, and it was, I believe, the day before Grohl broke his leg. So they had a day off, and it was close to that time, if not maybe a little. No, you know what? I think this is after. But I was in the lobby of the hotel, and I got my Heart shirt on, and I hear, "Dude, rad shirt," and I'm like,
sounds like
I turn around, and it's Taylor, from the Foos, and I'm like, yeah, they're rad. And then he goes, "Are you from Canada, man?" Because Heart blew up in Canada. He starts giving me the Heart backstory, right? And I'm like, yeah, the tour, small talk, and it was like an hour. And then he goes, "Hey, we're gonna be in Vancouver soon, man. You make sure you come down, and if no one lets you in, tell them you're the Heart shirt guy from Germany." But he doesn't know this. Like, I didn't tell him the other story. While we're regaling for a minute. So I had this moment on years ago where I was driving, and I was driving the band. So I go to pick up the Foos from hotel, right? And so it's Nate, it's Taylor, and I don't know if anyone else had come. I think it was just the two of them. And I'm sitting there, and Angus Young is standing beside me. He's just he's standing beside me, and the guys they're like, "It's fucking Angus Young," and they must have known just because of the obviously they're all staying in a hotel, but it was just this like, "That's Angus Young," and then you see Angus go like, "Hey, he's the Foo Fighters," and they do this whole thing, and I'm caught in this like Foo Fighter AC/DC thing where it's like, all right, this is gonna explode the van if I'm not careful. They talk, we go, they're fanboying out. They're like, "Oh, fucking AC/DC, AC/DC." I get to catering, and I get down and sit down and eat. And Grohl comes in to eat, and I get the, Bruce is here, right? I'm like, what? Springsteen. I'm like, Springsteen, yeah, he's playing in Vancouver tomorrow night. He's like, no, he's here. He's going to play with us tonight. And he didn't end up playing with them, but he stood in the crowd and watched the show with a hat on like this, and no one knew who he was. And I'm standing beside him going, fucking Springsteen, watching the Foos. And it was this hybrid of like, Foos, AC/DC, Springsteen, all together, and I'm like, well, that's it. I might as well just quit now. That's it. I mean, it doesn't get any radder than that for rock.
About live shows, man. This is
for
what
rock fans. It doesn't get any better now. But anyways, gentlemen, we should wrap it up. It's the year in review. Chris, comic books that were your highlight for this year, or what's coming out this year, and then we'll
let me give you a quick
Skeletron and get the hell out of here.
Oh, geez, I'm tripping. Okay, so quickly here. This is very interesting, though. You guys will dig this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So old comics, as we all know, are worth a lot of money. Each year, a comic is sold from these selected ones, like the very first appearance of Superman and stuff like that, and they set the precedence for how much that comic is worth. Now, this year, X-Men #1, and this is around a 9 grading out of 10, right? So these aren't like ones that are missing covers and stuff like that, guys. So the first issue of the X-Men that was released in 1963 sold for $492,000. We've got Detective Comics #27. Do you guys know what that's the first appearance of?
Detective would be Batman.
Batman, my friends, yes. That was in 1993. Wrap your head around that. Batman was created in 1993. Sorry, 1939.
Thinking I have at least a couple of
1939.
them
That's
from
pretty
92.
funny. Sorry about that. Sorry.
I got a bunch from
Was that Val
Tales.
Kilmer? Or
As,
was
as
that
I'm wondering why you guys are just looking at me like it's no big deal, right? So 1939. Wrap your head around that. Sorry. Detective Comics number 27 went for $1.2 million.
Wow.
All right. We've got Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is the first appearance of.
Amazing Fantasy.
Yep. Number 15. Number 15.
Fantastic Four.
No.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Copy of that went for $1.5 million.
Okay. Wow.
Number 1, top-selling comic book of the year, Action Comics number 1. Who's that? Superman. Again, this is 1938. Holy crap. So Batman created a year after that. Spider-Man created in the early 60s. X-Men right after that. Unbelievable. Okay, Action Comics number 1, 9.0. $3.2 million, my friends.
Wow. Hey, I've got something. Maybe you can tell me what the value of this is. I was during my time off on the holidays here, I was cleaning out some old boxes, and I've got like a ton of old like crappy comics, like not even good. Like we're talking like Archie and Jughead and Richie Rich and Star Wars and G.I. Like
Star Wars and G.I. Joe are worth a lot of money.
Okay, but I found this. It's an issue of the computer paper from July of 1995.
The computer paper.
Yeah.
What is that?
This used to be like the trade magazines for computer nerds in the 90s. Like if you wanted to go buy. So you could this was a big deal back then. You could get an Intel Pentium 90 megahertz processor with 8 megabytes of RAM, a quad speed CD-ROM, and a 16-bit sound card. Plus, you would get MS-DOS 6.22.
Oh my
There
god!
it is.
All for monitor not included though. All for the low price of $24.99.
Jesus.
$2,500.
Holy.
Yeah, this was like, I showed this to Owen and I'm like, dude, look back. Your phone has more power than most of these.
Oh my god!
2,500.
What year was that?
July of 1995.
95. Good year to be
We're
alive.
well into our second year.
Why-
of
why
Jet
order,
Wild. You know what? I bet you it's worth, Mike. $4.99, which is what you can buy a Skeletron. for.
There you go. Trade it over.
Great segue. Oh, that's fantastic.
Let's hear a $4.99 Skeletron promo, Mike. Come on, give us what you got.
See, no, you can't sell a comic book with a voice. You sell it with the artwork.
There you go.
Flash it on the screen, Lonnie. There you go. That's how you
Shouldn't
sell
have
it.
any handy, but
I just wanted to say, since we're doing a quick year in review, I looked at the list of who we lost, and I had forgotten, how many people passed away this year from the celebrity world. And Neil Peart, I completely forgot.
oh right, yeah. No, him and Eddie, yeah.
Eddie Van Halen, yeah. So, and like from the comedy side of things, Jerry Stiller, Fred Willard, who was absolutely brilliant.
Basically working right up till he died. Yeah.
Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. I mean, that's an SNL, in heaven skit made for heaven. Wilford Brimley, Regis Philbin, Eddie Haskell died.
Oh wow, that's right. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about Wilford Brimley? So Wilford Brimley, I don't know if you remember, Chris. He's from Cocoon.
Yep. Oh, I know who he is.
He's
And
the old
those
guy from
insurance
Cocoon, right?
commercials,
I
right?
like
And
this.
insurance company. But here's the thing: he looked 92 in 92.
Yeah. He's always looked old, right?
He's always looked old, and then they're like, "Oh, he died of that." I'm like, "What do you mean he wasn't 90 already? What are you talking about?"
And he had a great episode on Seinfeld too, right?
Oh
With the
my
mail
God.
thing there, the mail.
the best.
Yeah,
The best.
That's really good.
And I mean, guys like Kenny Rogers, Little Richard, Benny Mardones. I don't know if you guys remember who Benny Mardones was, but I worked in adult contemporary radio for a number of years, and he was the bane of my existence.
Oh,
'cause
no.
he did a song called "Into the Night," and I think I played the shit out of that.
To the
for
night. I
far
probably
too
know what
long.
that is.
That and Bill Withers, Leslie West died just
Right.
just
From
before
Mountain?
the new year. From Mountain, yeah. So
We just lost Tanya Roberts yesterday, a couple days ago. From
no,
that 70s show.
she's apparently alive.
But they're going crazy. With
She's alive.
It's all
I guess
hoax, all
her PR person got it wrong. So time to get a new PR person.
Whoa. That's a pretty big mistake, right?
Just hire me. I'll make you famous. It's gonna be great. You've been out of the picture.
It's all part of the plan.
Here's what
All
we're
right.
gonna do.
How
We're
does
gonna say
the
you're dead.
the
And then
typewriter?
5 days
Let me
later,
get the typewriter going here. One second. Tanya has died. There we go. Let's get it out.
we're gonna get it out there, and in 5 days, we're gonna say, "Oops, she's still alive and available for appearances for a very nominal fee."
Starts doing that. So I thought you died. No, my publicist. Oh, and we lost Don Wells a couple days ago.
Ah, yes.
Mary
And
Ann.
as my buddy Brian would say, she was never and the rest
Mm-hmm.
when it came to Gillian. Because remember they did that for a while. It was like the movie star
Mm-hmm.
and the rest. are
Right.
here. Yeah, they had cut out the Professor and Mary Ann for a spell there. So Don Wells was never and the
Do we
rest.
have celebrity death predictions going into 21 starting now? Who do we think the first one to go is going to
It's
be?
not going to be Keith Richards.
He makes it another year.
Yeah. Oh, geez. I don't know. They always surprise you, huh? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to call it. They always
Yeah.
surprise you.
I think this, it's as morbid as it sounds, I think this is the year we lose one of the big classic rockers. Maybe not Keith Richards. Sorry, Mick. Maybe it's the year that Mick goes.
Ooh, we're going to get rid
I'm
of
going.
Mick
That's
maybe
my
this year.
wild card. But I'm starting to get that feeling that we had, was it David Bowie was 2019.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna see sort of a major one go this year. That major for us that
Yeah.
we would have.
I think Betty White. If I was going to pick anyone, I'd say Betty White.
Oh no!
I'm just saying. If I had to pick anyone, I'd say Betty White. Unfortunately.
I'm going to say Betty White's dog because she keeps living, and the dog's probably like, holy fuck, the dog. She's probably outlived 27 dogs.
She's probably had a lot of pets. If she's a cat person, wow, look out.
Yeah.
Do I dare say that this is the year that Vince McMahon passes away?
Ooh.
That
I
rock?
got to tell you,
Chaos
the
ensues.
guy, I can't, I mean, kudos to him to handle the workload and stress. I mean, I'm just saying from a straight workload, they're like, yeah, stress and workload. And the fact that he's still lifting 500 pounds, I'd be like, oh yeah. But then everyone's still around. Whatever.
It might,
Who knows?
but he could be one of these dudes where what he does doesn't stress him out. He's been doing it so long. It's his company. Like, he can fire
Probably
whoever he
stressed sitting
wants.
at home. He's probably stressed not
Well, yeah,
doing
I
it.
just think that he could be. I don't know, but I've met people that thrive off of the atmosphere that they plan around themselves. And if you
I'm gonna
take it
take a
away
flyer
from them,
here.
then they die. You know what I mean? Like, I watched a thing on Marty Jannetty, and he says as soon as I stopped wrestling all the time, man, that's when the shit hit the fan, right? So sometimes people need to be surrounded by that getting up at 6 a.m. and traveling somewhere, and
That structure,
right.
yeah.
And it may not seem like a structure to us, but
Guess. I'm going to take a guess that a big movie star, a big sports star, a big music star
Yeah.
are all going to die.
but you're not going to pick
Someone's-
one.
I think you've got something.
I got the
going.
best
There you
chance.
go.
All right, boys.
Uh,
That's the year in the review. That's
Woo!
the kids on the escalator.
That was us.
As always, we got to go to Mike. What's going on with Mike?
Absolutely nothing. No, you know what? It's funny because I had my first job, my first voiceover job of the year. The first script that I did in the new year, and I don't know if this is going to be sort of the tone setter for the rest of the year. It was for a male enhancement pill being sold at GNC retailers all across
Well,
the
there
US.
you go.
So if anything, 2021 is definitely looking up.
Hey!
There
Chris,
we go.
Skeletron.
Woo! Oh, dude. Well, from here on out, I'm just jammed. This is great. But I want this. I'm like one of those strange people, as I say, that it's like, wow, Chris, you have to draw this, and you got to write this song. I'm like, yeah. When I get up in the morning, I got nothing to do. That's when I get all bummed out, man. I got to be doing stuff. So I got Skeletron coming on. I'm finishing up issue 2, finishing up some extra inks. Got to do a couple more pages in there. I go through it now, and I'm like, there's a couple pages that I redo because if I have the time, I want it to look perfect. I like that. And then I got a lot of workshops coming up for comic book workshops. We are going to have the theme song for our show is going to be available here. Yeah, and then in another few weeks.
Cool.
I can't. Oh, Who Wants to Drink? Who wants to drink? So we're gonna do that up. No, but I'll, as I say, hold my beer. I'll drink for both of us. And yeah, so we're gonna put that out. I'm gonna put a little video together for it, samurai type dealy that I've got some old samurai footage that I'm allowed to use, and I'm going to put that together. So the song will be available soon if anybody wanted to dig into that. And yeah, just the comic book company. I'm so excited about the comic book company. I love creating on my own world. Yeah. And I'll ask my producer, my manager, did I miss anything? Am I doing anything else exciting?
Drawing.
Maybe
drawing.
Yeah, maybe shoveling the driveway occasionally and waiting to get in the backyard and barbecue some beer again. But
Be sure to tell your friends about us. Join us on the Twitters and all the thing. You can find us on Twitter on Kids on the Escalator.
and I'm back on Twitter. Sorry, I'm back on. Sorry, I'm back on
Chris is
Twitter.
back on
I'm back on Twitter. I have
And
1,000
wait a minute.
followers on there.
And hey, social media is telling me that you got something coming up, Brent.
Well, I got to get the thing in, or Lonnie's going to kick our
You gotta
ass.
get a
So with
birthday.
Streamlabs, you can buy some merch. You can buy some merch from our Streamlabs
Yeah.
site. You can get everything you got to do. Commission Chris, man. Get Chris to draw you a picture, people.
Woo!
Like he'll put like the Macho Man and Tanya Roberts together. You know, wrestling Don Wells.
It'll be great.
It's
We'll
going to be
make
the
a
greatest thing ever. It's
Actually,
gonna
I
be the
actually don't
best.
have any commissions on the go right now at all. I am
So
free.
commission
So
Chris, get him going. But find us on everything, Twitter, all the rest of it. And yes, Mike, the Journey for Coffee, it's called Journey for Java now. I've launched journeyforjava.com, which is coming soon. But the Brent on Tour podcast is circling back to coffee. People are like, oh, liking coffee. This has got to be the most boring thing ever. My top 5 downloaded episodes, 3 of them are my coffee interviews.
There you go.
And that isn't even with Dave from Megadeth. He was in number 6.
wow. Well, people who drink
Our
coffee will
Seinfeld
stay awake
talk
for it
about-
all.
Yeah, it's just but I'm just trying to find that's a little bit of a different journey. You know,
Cool.
I'm trying to teach people a little bit about the coffee side of it, but I bring musicians and bands and people on that have coffee brands and the guys who love to make coffee and things like that. Anyways, the Journey for Java.com is going. Journey for Java is now on Twitter with all 20 followers. So that's fantastic. But anyways, the Brent on Tour podcast will need a new intro for the Journey for Java. So we'll tap into some people there.
Oh, me?
Huge thanks to DeanBlundell.com and
Hey,
the
Dean.
team over there.
Dean,
Dean,
buddy.
how's it going, buddy? Thanks for hosting us on DeanBlundell.com. Yes, we were live right there in the corner of the site tonight. We were there. And they're killing it. And the podcast network is huge over there. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, another Monday night down.
Yeah. And next week we're going to do It Came from the Basement, correct?
The 18th, actually. We got a couple exciting episodes coming up. We're going to do an 80s retro wrestling.
Oh, when's
which
that? Is that next?
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we tell them what's next. It's
Oh, we're
gonna
not going to tell them what's next. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
we're
see.
going to get into some stuff, but pay attention to that. You have to tune in. We got a great segment coming up that Chris has named It Came from the Basement, which is all going to be on retro toys, which we got started a few weeks ago with Todd Brent from
Yes.
Slash's band.
They liked it. And that's where all my toys are, unfortunately, at least most of them. You see all these here? Oh, this is nothing. Wait do you see this stuff? I'm going to bring up stuff that you're going to be like, what is wrong with that guy?
Yeah, it's a pretty so there's lots of stuff coming up. We got we're gonna do some more music stuff too. We got to get into. We got to get some of our indie band friends on.
We
to,
should, yes.
talk about their albums and what's coming up for them. So I think we'll get into that sooner than later.
I heard
next
Al
week.
Nolan has a
Oh, yeah,
Trigger Happy. He
Al-
has a label out now, right?
I think he's part of a label, and our friend Gary Begner's part of that label.
His band's on there, yeah. But doesn't Al owns it, doesn't he? It's like it's his kind of baby. Him and
Good
Doug.
question. You'll have to ask him. Maybe we'll get him on.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
see.
so future we got Chuck wants to be on the show.
From I'm Mother Earth.
Yeah,
and
from
the Salads. Very cool.
I'm Mother Earth, the Salads, and David Wilcox band.
That's right.
So we got Chuck.
So
wanting to
we've
be
got
on here.
some big stuff coming up, friends, and just keep tuning in, following us on social media. That's the only way you're going to find out.
Are
Commission
you
Chris.
shopping for a computer there, Mike?
Well,
Hire
you know
Mike.
what? I'm
Hire
finding
Mike.
that nobody beats Future Shop. Man.
Apparently they do. That's good.
This is Kids on the Escalator
That's
podcast.
gold.
Those are the fellas. This is us, and we got to go. Thanks, everybody.
Party on, Wayne.
Times, rad dudes.